What is a Rocket League? What's a Rocket League? Do we know? What's up, Eber? How you doing? Ooh, I've been deploying this new app, and I got some environment variable drama. So, yeesh. We'll see how it goes. I'm doing good. It's an exciting day. We've got. Let me turn down the music a little bit. It's a little bit noisy in my ear holes. Um, yeah, we got a new app today that I just made open source, and my stream setup's a little bit different, so I'll actually be able to type into chat on the same computer. But this is what we're going to be working on today. And I can switch my thing to this. Hello. Okay. Love the last stream, learned a lot. I want to migrate my homemade solution to Elmland. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm glad that the marketing effort here is working. No, that's definitely cool. So you just were using Vanilla Elm and kind of trying to do your best with the patterns. That's kind of how it went for me before I made the framework. All right. So this is what we're going to be working on today, everyone. So welcome in. There is this thing called Taste.js. I could just type that, I guess. That's close. And Taste.js is has these like example apps that people use. So there's implementations in React's Next.js, there's Angular, there's Nuxt, there's Astro, there's Solid, and it looks like there's all these other secondary ones. So a few months ago, I started playing around with, I think it was like Elmland 18. I'm not sure what version I was on. I think it was Elmland 18. And I started to make this and then got busy with other things and hadn't come back to it. But I made a lot of progress. And my goal was to make this an open source project so you could scan through the code, add that to the examples on Elmland's website. Just like we did with the last stream with the real world app. I want to add this movies app. So Elmland's all about making real things and sharing them so people can see how to work with like APIs and GraphQL or REST or whatever they're doing. So that's the... Oh, that's what you mean. That makes sense. I'm not playing Rocket League. That is a good point. Science. Technology. I thought that would change from the go live. Rip. Bummer. Okay. Let's make an app. Alright. How do I do this? That's hilarious. I just bait and switched all these people. Let's make an app. Oh my. Done. Thank you. Sorry about that. It's not Rocket League. This is not Rocket League. Rocket League's not even a movie. You can't even search for it here. But anyway, so a bunch of this app's already built out. I've got this. You can click on, movies. I've got the movie detail. From there, you can see like the cast. I've got this cool animated slider thing going on. There's similar movies. All that stuff is working, but there's certain pages that I just haven't implemented yet. So that's what we're going to be working on today. And I'm just going to be talking through the code. It should be Rocket League. I'm so bad at Rocket League. Maybe I'm worse at coding. Who knows? But yeah, so that's today's stream. Let me see. I was trying to deploy this to production so you guys could see it at movies.elm.land, but I was running into some issues with the API token. So I'll circle back to that later. I think it has to do with how I got the API key. So I'm just going to log into TMDB and see if I need a different key for a different domain. I'm doing that over to the side here so that I don't accidentally leak my key. All right, API. Read access. Details. Okay, application URL movies.elmland. Okay, so maybe it will work. I'm just going to configure my domain to redirect. So we can just pretend that I'm doing something interesting. Elmland. Gonna do this off camera. DNS. Custom record. Movies. It's gonna be a CNAME record. And it's gonna be elm-land-movies.netlify.app. Hopefully that'll take effect soon. I'm just going to go into Netlify real quick and wire that up. All right, Elmland. So this is all I'm doing here. I'm just going to my domains. Nope, not to my domains, to my sites, to my movies app. It's got this missing API token, and I'm going to set up the domain so I can add movies.elm.land. I'm going to verify that. Yes. Cool. Cool. So it's saying missing API token. Hopefully that'll get resolved. Right now it's not secure, so maybe when it gets to HTTPS we'll be okay. But I think it'll be good once the HTTPS comes through. Cool. So yeah, we'll let that sit for a bit, and let's just start coding locally and see how it goes. I'm gonna bring this back over. Zoom in. Hey, what's up, Wolfgang? What, you're traveling? All right, well, good to see you. And I'll catch you later. All right, let's get into it. So this is the app we're trying to build. We've been using the Nuxt app for like design inspiration. Each one of these kind of looks a little bit different, and I think the Nuxt team, the folks behind like the Vue.js framework, did a really good job. So I was hoping that we could kind of follow their lead here. So before I add all these details in, I thought it'd be nice to have the person detail page. So let's do this one next. So in Elmland, the files in your folders, or the names of files in your folders determine the routes that you're going to be at. So this people/person ID is going to render our people page for us. So here, if I made this say hello people page, and I saved this, when I click on a person, you're going to see hello people page. So the goal here is we're going to request the data for Margot Robbie's profile, and then we're going to show that on the page. So hopefully it'll look something more like this. And we're going to use the ID that's in the URL here. Up here, we're going to use that ID. We're going to hit the REST API for TMDB. Let me go to the API docs for that. I'm going to pull up the API reference, and I'm going to bring that over here. So TMDB is a free like IMDb API, and it has all these things, so we can look up, people. And I think if we just give that an ID, we should be able to get information about a person. Looks like this is trending. We don't want trending, we want collections. All right, so there's account stuff, authentication stuff, people list. Where's person? People, details. All right, so we're gonna hit this people details API, and I think this will have the data that we're looking for, if it loads. Here we go. So we just need to hit a URL like this one here. It's kind of zoomed out, huh? But if we hit the endpoint and we go /person and then person ID, we should be able to see information for that person. So this is the endpoint we want to hit. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put Elmland Movies in the tab title, do a Hello People page, and then I'm going to just expose all this stuff. And then one thing I want to do is bring in that layout that we have on every other page. So you'll notice that these pages, as I click around and I navigate, I always have this sidebar. So I just want to make sure that when we go to this page, we still have that sidebar for navigation. So Elmland makes that pretty easy. We're just going to import our layouts. Oops. Or expose the layout type. And then I could type this all by hand. I'm just going to copy the existing one here. We're just going to use the page with layout function, and then we're going to provide it this to layout, and that'll tell this page that it should use the default layout. So when I save this, you'll see that we have the sidebar as we expect, and we also have the footer at the bottom, which we want to have on every page. So we have the people page. That's good. Let's request some data when the page loads. So here what we want to do is we want to request people like detail information. We want to get Margot Robbie, her name, her face, and then other information that we saw, like this bio here, what she's known for, her place of birth, her birthday. And then later we can fetch all her movies and stuff like that. But let's just start with her face, her name, and then her bio and see how that goes. So the way we can do that is if we look at this API, when we get a response, this is going to be the kind of data that comes back in the response. And because I already have a few of these set up, I have things for getting details for a movie. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the movie details query, and I'm going to make a new file for people details. Or I guess person details is what the API calls it. So we're just going to change all this to person for now. And we're just going to start with the name of the person. We're going to start with the image URL. And we're going to start with the overview or the bio. And we'll see how we can grab this basic information from the person. We don't need genres. And then in Elm, everything that you're seeing here, all these decoders, this is just describing how to get the data back from the API. So what you're going to see is there's this fetch function we have, and then we're going to define a decoder, for a person or for whatever. So this is the movie decoder, or this is the person decoder. All we want is the ID, we want the name, we want the image URL. And all these fields, I need to actually look at the reference documentation and see what types are going to come back and things like that. And then here we're going to have person. We're going to have the ID that we pass in when we call fetch. And then we're going to get rid of all this stuff. This is, oh sorry, that's in the way. This is specific to the movies endpoint that we were working with, where we want to get related data. So potentially we're going to come back to that. Okay, so yeah, so fetch, we want to hit the person endpoint. We want to take that ID, turn it to a string so that we can concatenate it with the other one. And then I've got this JSON like builder pattern thing going on here. And so what we're saying is I want to get a person back. I'm expecting an ID field, a name field, an image URL, and an overview field. Let's see if those are actually the names for the values that are coming back. Looks like they use view transitions or some JS magic. I wonder if there's plans to support view transitions in Elmland. Oh yeah, I think so. View transitions is a browser. Is that the browser specified thing? ID name. That's like a browser feature, right? Yeah. I haven't explored that yet. My understanding is that it, or my assumption was that it would just work with, if you, oh, do you need to do some certain HTML tags? It's all the rage. The rootin' or tootin', you got to be doing both. Why aren't you rooting or tooting? All right, let's see. So I'm not seeing a image URL. So I don't know where we're going to get the image from. Maybe we're supposed to request images in general. Oh, here we go. And then we need to get the first image. Maybe that's how it works. So for image, we're just going to keep image off for now. And we'll leave it with that. And then we're going to change overview to bio. So what this is going to do is when we send this request, it'll hit the person endpoint with that ID, and hopefully it'll be able to pick off ID, name, and biography from the result that comes back. Let's see if we can get that to work. And I made that up. Okay. Document.startView transition. I see. Yeah, I haven't taken a look at that yet. You're tooting quite a bit. Very good. Welcome to the stream, JD. You can toot all you want here. All right. What we're gonna do is on the init function, when this page loads up, we're gonna send. We're gonna call this API.person.details, and we're gonna call that fetch function. And what we need to do is we need to pass the ID in. So the ID is actually gonna come in through our route. So our route has a person ID. We're gonna pass the route params right through. So we're gonna have access to this now in our init function. So we pass that in. So I'm just gonna call this params. And then we're gonna pass params.id. That's what came in from the URL. And then on response, we're gonna say we fetched. Let's see what I was naming it here. I wanna be consistent with my naming convention over here. Okay, API movie responded. So we're gonna say API person responded. There's API person details. Yeah, API movie responded. We'll say API person responded. And then this is a message that will handle the data when it comes back. So for now, we're just gonna ignore the data. But what we're gonna wanna do is say that we can get an HTTP error. Maybe the API is down, maybe the URL we typed was wrong, stuff like that. So those are all those types of errors. Or we can get the data that we expect, which is available at person, details, person. So it's complaining, Elm's complaining right now because it's like, what are these values? And it's just, we didn't import these modules at the top of the file. Support Claw teammates. Have you been streaming? Yeah, shout out to JD Dev. Not familiar with Elm at all. What differentiates it from React or Vue? Not trying to flame or actually curious. Yeah, totally. Let me do a shout out. Yeah, so Elm is kind of like TypeScript and React combined. It's much less popular. I feel like if you're trying to get a job, like right out of college, or you're doing like a boot camp or something, I feel like I wouldn't recommend people learn Elm because of that. But the reason people like it is actually this is a perfect example. The error messages you get. So when you're developing with Elm, the compiler is able to catch like pretty much every bug, every typo, every little thing, and gives you these really nice readable error messages. So here I made a mistake. I said params.id instead of it should be params.personid. And so Elm's able to even not only tell you that it's wrong, but recommend similar things or fields that you might have meant to type. So the hint that Elm gave here is actually exactly the bug in my code. And then is fetch return an effect? Good. And then here, oh, it looks like I gave it a string, but it wants to have an API. So when I'm developing with Elm, I get these kind of error messages, and that helps me prevent bugs. So if I made a similar typo in React, if I did params.id, I would wait till I loaded the page, and then I'd see that I'd go to the network tab. I'm like, why is my data not loading? And then I would see, oh, I meant to say like person ID. For some reason, I'm getting like undefined in my request, that kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. If people like Elm, much lower cognitive load. At least I like it because of that. Yeah, Elm is very handy for solo developers. Feels like you're always pairing. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it feels like the compiler has your back. It's definitely worth trying just to like experience the compiler. But yeah, React is still a incredibly nice way to build apps, and there's a lot of good tooling around it. So the framework that I made, Elmland, is to try to help people who are coming from JavaScript get started with it, because there's like, you don't want to be setting up like servers and like, getting, should I use Vite or Parcel? So with this, you can just, do Elmland init, you have a project and Elmland server, and you're up and running, and you can just immediately start building apps. So that's what this is built on top of. So you're kind of learning a little bit of Elm today, and you're learning a little bit of Elmland. So yeah, totally. TypeScript is really, really close to Elm. There's like minor like differences. But yeah, the one thing you can't do in Elm is you can't use any, or you can't like trick the compiler. So all the types will always work, but it comes at the cost of learning this kind of weird syntax that I think turns a lot of people off. And the upgrade path from JavaScript to TypeScript is amazing. You just change the extension and you're done. But yeah, feel free to ask more questions as you go. Always down to help. Okay, cool. So we did that. Looks like the page is loaded. So Elm has a built-in debugger. Every Elm program has this. So when we loaded the page, it looks like we did get data back, and it looks like it was okay. And here's the data that came back. We got the bio, we got the ID, and we got the name. So now that we have this data, let's store it in our model, because then we can render it in our HTML. So here I'm going to store, person, and this is going to be, I think I have an API response type. And then this response, if it's successful, it's going to store, that person value that we got back. So when this person comes back, we've got this person value. Cool. Going to be more lurky, but anything sticks out, I'll ask. Awesome. Yeah, no worries. And then I'm going to import API response and expose response. Response is just a type to capture the possible states that a web request can be in. So either I'm loading the data, I've successfully gotten it, or there's a failure and I want to like show the error to the user. So that's all this response type is. And then the data that we care about here is this person. So when the page starts up, we can say api.response.loading. And then when the data comes in, if it was okay, then we have that person back. We can say that the model's person field is api.response.success, and here's the person value. And then Elm will catch the missing part of the case expression where we need to handle the error case. So this is something that is nice about custom types. We can see that we forgot to handle this branch. What happens when something goes wrong? And that's a way we can prevent bugs in production. So here we have, in the case that something goes wrong, we're just going to store that failure in the model, and then we can actually render that to the user. If we want to show them like, oh, looks like you're offline, that kind of thing, rather than just kind of trying to access like the name property and having that fizzle out or crash. So we've got the model, we've got the hello people page. I'm just going to do something really simple for now, and I'm just going to see if our data comes through as expected. So api.response.loading. If this is happening, I'm just going to show loading ... on the screen. If there's success and I have a person, I'm going to show the person's name. And then in the final case, if there's a failure with some type of HTTP error, what I'm going to do is I think I have something for rendering the error. I should have some type of helper. API error. Yeah, so I've got this module, API error to helpful message. This is going to give the user something that they can understand about what went wrong. So we're going to import that. And that's what we'll try to do with our UI. So when the page loads, you'll see we have Margot Robbie shown up on the screen. And if we go to a different movie, let's say we go to No Hard Feelings, and we click on Jennifer Lawrence, now this same page, all that code is just requesting different data. So we're going to be able to have this one page support all the people that we want to keep track of. So yeah, cool. I'm gonna zoom in on this real quick. Sorry, I'm doing sneaky stuff off camera. Oops. Still getting back into the groove of being a stream boy. What's going on? All right, cool. All right, cool. So that's that. Let's render some more data. So we have Margot's name. Let's see how we were doing CSS on the other pages. I forgot with this project what I was doing. Am I just using classes? Okay, looks like I was using classes, and great, I was just doing CSS on a file. So this is just a standard CSS project. Let's see if I have any font. Oops. I'm gonna see how I was doing headers. So I have a font h1 class. Let's use that for Margot's name and see how it goes. What am I doing here? I'm getting mixed up. Person. So on success, we're going to just render the class font h1. I keep doing this HTML dot everywhere. We don't need this. And really we don't need this, but I'm going to use the prefix, put HTML attributes as attribute, or as adder. So now hopefully this will, sweet, this will be a big title. And then what else did they do on this page? Did they center it? Okay, so they center it. Looks like there's like a max width. Let's see what that is. So we're gonna kind of take a look at the CSS. Looks like 1200 is the max width, and then they center the content. So let's do the same thing. Let's say, it's kind of a few views. So we wanna say like, you know, view loading. We wanna say view person. We can pass the person in. So we'll have access to the person there. This would be a function that takes in a person detail and then view loading. Loading, and then here we're just gonna do the same thing, loading dot 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 for now. Maybe we want to make that full screen so there's like a centered like loading spinner, but no worries for that. And then we're gonna have view error. So view error. So I'm just breaking these things into smaller functions, so they're gonna be a little bit easier to work with. We don't have like a bunch of conditional logic and then a bunch of like branching HTML inside of there. Oops, I should probably pass the error in, huh? So we can do HTTP error. That's the value that we would have access to in the failure branch. So now we don't have to worry about this anymore. We can just focus on what do we want to render in the Margot Robbie like the happy path. So I'm gonna move that to the bottom because it's gonna get bigger. All right, so we want to have a div that has a max width of 1200, and we want it to be centered. So let me see, I'm just gonna quickly look at how I did the CSS and see if I can match the style I was using. So I was using these CSS variables for spacing, dark mode support. I've got some resets. I'm using rows and gaps. Layout, okay. Layout page. I think this is more so for the that layout, the sidebar navbar thing that we were doing. Sidebar navbar. It looks like I'm just using like standard like BEM classes here. I'm not going crazy into utilities. So maybe max with 1200 is not the move. I'm just trying to be consistent with kind of the style of CSS I was using when I started this project. I like to kind of experiment with different things and see what's nice. I think this is good for now, though. Looks like that's how I was doing icons. I'll see if I can remember how to do this. Jeez. Cool. And then responsive stuff. All right, so let's just do person detail page. I'm just gonna add a comment so I kind of remember what this is for. And this is gonna be page person detail. We're gonna say the max width is 1200 pixels. And I'm gonna use margin 0 auto to center things. This is kind of old school, but that's all right. So I'm saving that CSS. Oops. And I'm gonna paste that here, and then hopefully we'll see that things are gonna be centered. Cool. Oh, I forgot to say width 100%. We want it to take up as much space as possible, and then cap out at 1200 rather than always do that. So it's pretty fast. And then I don't know if I want to be doing all this. Do I have padding classes? Like padding helper classes? .pad. I guess I don't. All right. So I'm going to do 2rem, 1rem for the page so that Margot Robbie's name isn't butting up against the top of the screen. That looks good to me. And then let's just do the bio underneath it. Let's see what kind of font classes we had access to. So we had font H1, we have font paragraph. Looks like that's using like a secondary text, which will be perfect. So let's render the bio there. We're gonna go back to person. Should I just say Markdown? I saw there was a Markdown class. Let's just do person.bio and see what that looks like. Okay. Is there an HTML version of the bio that has like the formatting and spacing? Because I really want it to look kind of like this. I wonder if they're doing like a string split or how they're handling that. Let's take a look. Details. Who cares about that? Why would you need to put that on the biography? Okay, so it's just a string. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to split the string, and then I'm going to create paragraphs for each. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the string. I'm going to use parentheses here. Actually, no, let's use a variable. We're going to call this bio paragraphs. And this is an example of using a let expression to kind of break apart your markup. So bio paragraphs. This is going to need to be a list of this HTML. Bio paragraphs. Probably get some layout shifts with scroll bar when you cap it with max width like that. Prefer to use margins to control wrapper, and then I get a nicer experience. Like what's going on with Real World app. I debugged it last Friday, but it's fine like that as well. It's a demo at the end of the day. Sweet. Yeah, we'll see. It'll be nice when it's like finished. We can see how it responds to mobile and stuff. I'm just kind of doing this piece by piece. All right, so what I want to do is I want to take the bio. I'm going to see if I can split it on double new lines. We'll see if that's the thing they use or if they use single new lines. But then for each line, what I want to do is I want to create a paragraph tag where the text is the content of that line. Let's see how that looks. Awesome. That's exactly what I want. Okay, cool. All right, so that's the bio. Let's get the image for Margot Robbie to show up on the left side here. So the size of the image that they're using looks to be about 280 wide, and then we'll just naturally let the height figure itself out. So this is the person detail page. I'm going to use a column class with a bit of a gap to it. Let's see what I name my gap classes. This is inspired by Elm UI, where you don't really work with margin and padding, you work with padding and gaps. So let's see if this still looks right. And we should get a little bit of a gap between the title here. Is that right, or did I call it column? I want to upgrade this to use a package that I made recently. Oh, looks like I don't even have column yet. That's insane. I guess I just hadn't run into it yet. Cool. All right, there we go. So now there's a little bit of spacing here. That looks good. What I want to do is I want to make a row. Row, get px16. And then for now, I'm just going to make a div, which is going to be the person image, be the name of the class. And we're just going to make that just going to add this here. The width is going to be 280 pixels. For now, let's just say the minimum height is, I don't know, 280 pixels. And we're just going to make the background color. Let's make it pink for fun, for Barbie. So this is what we're seeing here. It looks like there's some flex stuff going on. So this is the this is actually 280 pixels. What was happening before was Flexbox was collapsing things to make space for this text. We don't really want that, so we're going to leave that alone. So what we're going to do is we want to fill this panel with Margot Robbie's picture, so we can have her looking cool. She's got her eyebrows done, looking all nice. I wish I got my eyebrows done. I'm poor. Anyway, the point is, we're going to hit this API. I think this images API is the one we want to get her picture. And then let's see what the response is. I don't know what the response is going to be. Let's see. We'll try it out. The resource you requested. How do I do it with a specific... Oh, I got to give it a user ID. It's actually pretty cool that you can just kind of do this in the... How do I try it now? Okay, cool. So I'm going to get a list of these profiles. And then I think this will give me... Awesome. This will give me the picture that I'm looking for. So I guess I just get all the images and then let's see if they show more pictures for Margot below. Photos. Okay, so it looks like they fetch all the images. It's just a lot of the same face. It's kind of crazy. It's very intense. So what we're going to do is we're going to fetch all these images, and then we're going to pick the first one on the list and use that as the profile. And if there's none there, that's okay. We'll be okay. We'll just we'll show a placeholder or like a user, a missing user. Let's see how we did images in the past. Stars image. Stars image outline. Oh, that's for like the stars rating. Carousel image. So it looks like the size we were going with was 200 pixels and 300 pixels for the carousel. So if I wanted to do 280, what would that ratio be? That's a 2:3 ratio. 140 times 3 is something with a 2 at the end of it. 42? 420? Hey, 420. Okay. It's Twitch friendly. All right, so I think we want this to be... Let's do it that way. There should be a 2:3 ratio also. So this will be the size of the picture. I want a little bit more gap here. So in between the text and the in between the text content and the image, I just want a bigger gap. So I'm going to update my CSS here and say that this row, I want there to be a 32 pixel gap. So we're going to have a little bit more space between this pink box and the content here. All right, let's get to fetching the images. So we're going to do something pretty similar to what happens here, but we're just going to hit a different endpoint. So I'm going to copy this movies images, put it under person images, and all we're going to do is do that. Person. Looks like the decoder is the same too. It's just a matter of... Okay, cool. So these decoders try to get the image path, and if there's a missing thing, we'll use this person placeholder. So this is already set up for me, which is perfect. All I need to do is have a similar call in my init function so that I'm requesting the images when the page loads. So I'm going to say images is a response where I should have a list of these API. I think I have the module name here. I have a list of these images that come from here. So let's import that. Elm will give us a friendly compiler message saying, hey, you didn't tell me about the initial state. It's actually going to be pretty similar to this, but we're going to do images. So now that we have images, what we want to do next is we want to actually fetch those images when the app loads. So we can use the effect batch function to give a list of things that we want to do when the page loads. So it's going to be pretty similar to what we did for fetching the person's details. It's just going to be, this will be images. We're going to use the same ID for the person. And then here we're going to say API person images responded. And then when that comes through, what we're going to do is we are going to have a result. It's either an HTTP error or it's a list of this image type that we described before. And again, this case expression will remind us that we need to handle what happens when the data comes back. And then here we won't have a person, we're going to have images. And here we're not going to set the person to a failure, we're going to set the images response to a failure. And so hopefully when we load this page, we still won't see anything, but we'll be able to, let me move this out from behind me. In the debugger, we'll be able to see that the data came back okay. Looks like it didn't. So let's take a look at the error that came back. So I'm going to inspect. And I'm sure it's just the data that comes back is a different format. So it looks like profiles is the thing I need to loop through. I bet when I copy pasted the implementation from the movies, it wasn't the same key. Because why would movies have profiles be the key? So this is why they're different files, so they can grow differently. But here we have profiles. And then I expected file path and aspect ratio. Let's see if those are in there. Okay, it looks like they are. So that's good. So now I'm just changing the field. I'm saying I'm not expecting backdrops anymore. I'm expecting profiles. Let's see if that fixes our bug. So the data comes back, and let's see. It looks like the images API responded with an OK, and we have access to a list of 32 images that we can show, which is cool. Hey, what's up, Jay Walter? Long time no Elm, that's right. How you been? We're just getting some pictures of Margot Robbie to put on a website, so life's good. Life's good here. Well, let me see if movies.elmland is working now. Still saying it's missing this API token. Very weird. I wonder if I could just redeploy. Let me try that one more time with site configuration. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this as a live URL that I can send to you in chat, and then everyone can just click and see how it's going. TMDB API token. Looks good to me. Maybe there's an error in the console that I could be looking at. Let me just look at that real quick. Inspect. So it looks like it is pulling the data. Whatever, it's working locally. We'll figure out how to debug that. But we've got Margot Robbie's face somewhere. Let's put it on the screen. Let's see if we can get that first image and then pull that through. So what we can do is we can say that if either are loading, we don't want to show view person. I'm just going to nest these case expressions. Let's keep it simple and see if there's like a nicer way to do it later. We can use tuples. All right, I'll do it this way. So if we're loading a person and images, if either of them are loading, we want to view the loading thing. So this is pattern matching, if you haven't seen this before. and it's going to tell us about all the branches that we're missing. I haven't looked at Elm in years. How's the editor ID support nowadays? I actually made a editor plugin that's a lot more reliable. So if you want to check this out, copy. If you use VS Code, it's kind of minimal in terms of like the features, but yeah, I was running into some issues with, I don't know what this would be. But yeah, here's the URL to the editor plugin. This works for any Elm project, not just Elmland. It's just got the Elmland brand or whatever. I don't know why I did that, just to mess with people, just to confuse folks. API.response.success, images. So if there's an error in either situation, I want to show that. And here, yeah, we want to show the loading spinner if either of them are still loading. We want to show a failure if either of them failed, and we want to show success only in this case. And so with that, we can actually pass the list of images in. So I'm going to make a record. I don't like to do too many positional arguments. I think it's harder to read the code, harder to understand what goes where. So I'm going to do this, and that'll make it a lot easier, in my opinion, to access the information. It's just a habit I've kind of gotten into after doing Elm for a few years. Person.images.image. So now we're going to have access to both of these things. We can use destructuring just to get the person like that, and then we can get the images like this. And then what we can do here is we can say, in the case where we do have like the first, we do have like we have a list of images. If we can access the first item, as in like if there are items in the list, we want to render that as our images. So I'm just going to do, oops, in the case that we do get an image back, we're going to render an actual image tag. This isn't exactly what we want right now, but let's see if we can get something rendering on the page. Image.url, is that right? Let's look at the compiler and see what's wrong. Oh, didn't handle the nothing case. Yeah, so in the nothing case, we're just going to render nothing. A way to render nothing in Elm is just to render a blank text node. But yeah. Hey, there's your face. It's very large and in charge. Let's see if I can add a class to that to make it respect the boundaries of the parent. Okay, so we're going to add a class. Or we can just reset image to have a max. I think it's a good reset. Max width, 100%. So there we go. We've got our face. We're making progress. So we're getting a lot closer to what these folks have. We got a bigger name, but I feel like, you know, Margot Robbie deserves a big name on there. This is just too small for me. It's too small. Maybe H2. Maybe this is a little bit too big. But this is what the page is about. I feel like it's cool that we got a big header. And let's see how this looks as I resize. So as I resize, I think I would like, let's see what Nux does. Let's see what the Vue.js team did. Cool. I think that's a good idea. I think having her face on top and then having, yeah, having the rest be there is perfect. I'm going to get rid of the height on the person image. Sorry, I've got my CSS all in one file, which is hilarious. But this isn't really about writing CSS. It's more of how do we fetch data? How do we render it on the page? It's more about the Elm side, so I'm not too worried about the styling. Okay, so we've got this. What I want to do is I want to have like a responsive column. Maybe I'll just make a class for that. So like column with, how would I do this? What's the easiest way to do this? I'm gonna make a crazy thing. If there's a responsive tag on a column, I'm going to make it so that its display flex, or its flex direction. Oh, sorry, this is a row. I want a responsive row. So a responsive row on mobile is going to have flex direction column. And then when we get to bigger screen sizes, so when the min width is 640 and up, we're going to say that direction becomes a row. So just by adding the responsive class, I think what we're going to get is that wrapping built in. Let's see if that's true. So Margot Robbie side by side. Let's make the screen smaller. Cool. Very cool. I like that. Okay, and then I'm going to say align center. Is that crazy? Yeah, that might be weird. I'm just going to add an attribute real quick to see if this is what I... Well, I'll do it in the browser. I don't want to use style tags, but we're just going to experiment with align items center. So that centers the image. That actually kind of looks nice. But this will align center on mobile. Okay, we'll do align center on mobile. I'm just going to make a class mobile align center. Who cares? It's CSS. We're not going to die. We might, but we'll say that we're going to use align items center. And then here we're just going to say set. Let's see how that goes. So here you see it's not centered. And then it is centered. Okay, that's exactly what we want. Maybe that CSS class is weird, but as long as we make specific CSS classes, we're not going to like collide with anything. It might just be a little bit awkward for both. Okay, so we've got Margot's title, we've got her bio, we've got her profile picture. I'm going to deploy this, and I'm going to see if that makes things work again. And we can take the image URL out of this because we know for a fact that we're not actually going to get images through this. Cool. So we've added these API endpoints. We've added some CSS to make it look nice. Add person overview. And we're going to push this up. So for folks looking for the code here, right now, you can find it at elmland/movies on GitHub. I'm going to post that in the chat. So you should be able to see this is our latest commit here. Oops, that's not our latest commit. Did I push? Oh, I did push. I think it's just there was a merge. This is our latest commit. So we just pushed that up. Let's see if Netlify is deploying that. Got that on my screen over here. And we'll see if it's finally working. Hey, okay, cool. So it is working. I think the environment variable on Netlify lagged behind. So if you visit that, that should work for you guys in production. Let me know if there's anything funky, but if you click on Ryan Gosling, you should see Ryan Gosling show up. So we have overviews for all these people. And how long did that take? It took about an hour. So within an hour, we added that page. We fetched, images. We actually have more images to render. Let's render those below. Let's make a little carousel of images at the bottom. I have a carousel component, so this shouldn't be too hard to do. Let's see how that goes. Let's just add that component real quick. So back to the person ID page. I know there's a component for a carousel. What we can do is we can see where this is used and then see how I've wired it up in the past. So view movie, view person. I already have a view person carousel. That's perfect. So I'm going to copy this code. This is coming from the view cast page for the movie detail. So what we're going to do is we're going to reuse this. And we're going to just show pictures here. We're not going to show that title. We're not going to show the description here. we're just going to show photos, and then we're going to have this nice carousel. Cool, let's do that. So back to person ID, view photos. I guess I'll rename it after I paste it. And then title is going to be photos. The ID for this section is going to be photos. Explore more is nothing. And then it looks like the items for view person. Oh, I see. So for each one of these images, for each image, we're going to want to, I think model.images is what we want here. And then each image is going to have a subheader that we don't care about. And then I think we want to have the title. I'm just going to hide that for now and see what happens. Let's see what view person is expecting. Image URL equals image.url. Carousel sent. This is a message that gets sent by our component when we hit next and previous. So we just need to be able to handle carousel sent, components.carousel.message. I think it also comes with an ID. Let's see how this works in practice. So we do have a components carousel message. Perfect. So that's all we want to do. And then when that message comes through, we're just going to call the update function for that component. So I'm going to just add a branch for carousel sent. This will be the inner message. Oops, looks like I already had that. And then we're just going to import components.carousel, and that'll give us all that hard work that we had for the other pages. We can just reuse that. And it looks like URL is something that it expects. Let's see what this is looking for. What is view person hoping to find? Oh, it's looking for something with an ID also, so it can uniquely identify that image. Shoot. Just do image.url for the ID. I'm just kind of hacking it for now, and then we're going to see how we do. URL needs to be a string. That's okay. Model.images. Oh, you know what? This needs to... Oh, this is right. Image URL. What am I doing? So it's saying I expected a list of images. Oh, name. Gosh dang it. All right, so the response is it's a list of images. Oh, this is a list.map. Gosh dang it. Sorry, so I was treating this all as a single image. But this is a list of images. This is crazy. Let's see all these nested functions I have. We're gonna fix that. Yeah, that was nuts. This looks crazy, but hopefully it results in. Oh, I gotta render it, huh? I gotta actually show the photos. Smart. All right. That's a row. I want to make sure that all this stuff is the row. This is like the overview. This is view the photos. I want to move all this stuff into this so we can kind of have our overview separated, from our actual view photos. I'm going to pass in the full model there. Looks like I never passed in the model. I'm going to do that too. just pass in the images directly? Does that seem more normal? I think I should, because now we have a guarantee that it'll work. So these are the images. So really it's going to be images. And then we're going to say for each image, let's do this. And then we're just going to say that it's always going to be successful because we'll always have the images if we're calling this function. Oh yeah, and then we don't want to pass that model anymore. We don't care about it. I think this is right. Oh, these need to be capitalized. Because now they do send messages. Now they send the carousel stuff. Look at this. Look at what we did. Cool. All right. So there's one thing that I got wrong, which is that that centering behavior should really be on the overview, because we want the photos to be the full width of the page. So I'm just moving that max width lower, and now we can see that everything's going to be okay. So here, we've got all these pictures. Some of them really do look the same. But that's how it is. Let's take a look. Let's see how it went for other actors. So there we go. We've got all these photos. I like this. I like how this is turning out. And it seems to be pretty mobile friendly too. You can scroll freely if you want, or you can use these to jump. But I think on mobile you would just use your finger and kind of scroll left to right. So that's us rendering all the pictures. There's only one thing that I didn't like that I did, which is all these like empty strings where I'm like ignoring the name, ignoring the subheader. No photos found. That feels weird to me. I think, let me see what it's actually rendering. Yeah, I feel like rendering these H4s with no content is not the play. So what I want to do is just not render this content in some of these situations. So I'm just going to make a function called viewPerson without subtitles. I'm going to call viewPerson photos. We'll make it as specific to what we're trying to do as possible. So all we need for this is, yeah, we want that. We don't need a to subheader. And so first we're pretending the function exists, then we're going to dive into the carousel and actually implement that function. So here we have viewPerson, and then we're going to make a viewPerson photos function that's really similar, but it's not going to render all that content that we don't care about. So I'm just going to kind of copy this. And then my goal is to change this API here. We don't care about the name, and we don't have a subheader. So now it's a little bit simplified. We're not asking as much from the caller. And then, do we have an explore more? There's none. So that maybe's good. So when I save this, we should get errors here. So details, caption, rating. We're going to add one branch for none. Maybe we could have like the year or something. That would be a cool subtitle. But I don't know if we really care about that. So I'm just going to say none. And then here, to carousel item, it's going to be an item. This is going to be something that does not have a name. And then in these situations, we're going to say nothing. And we just need to change the definition of what an item is. It doesn't always have a title anymore. So in the case of person, yep, we do have a title for that item. In case of a TV show, yep, we do. And then when it comes time to render it, we only want to render the content in the case that we do have an item title, right? Oh, ARIA label. Well, that's okay. This isn't actually a link, right? Oh, do we have links on all these? That's not good. Yeah, we don't want routes. So we're kind of extending the carousel component to be much more flexible. Cool. So here, just and then here we're gonna say just. Oops, we don't want to. Sorry, this is the one where we want nothing, right? The person photos, we don't have routes. And then, oh, sorry, I put the just in the wrong spot. I'm just screwing up everywhere. All right, nothing. Route. Great. And then person, we want to have just. Oh, what the heck? I thought that was the one I fixed. I do want to have a person route. What did that used to be? So this is why Git is very good. You should love it. Cool. We just got that code back. It's not gone. Hooray! All right. So that's back. We do want a route so that when we're on viewing like the cast for movies, I should probably change this to view cast. Carousel dot view person. I'm gonna say view cast person cast. And then I think this will be a better name for this so that we don't get mixed up. View cast member. Yep, let's do it. Let's do that one. Let's do that one. Good suggestion. All right, view cast member. This is why they pay you the big bucks, see? All right, view cast member, view person photos. I'm okay with that. All right, so we made that more flexible. It should be upset. Oh yeah, down here, you can kind of, you can see it over here. There's a little error that I'm blocking. In the case that we have a route, we want to render this. Otherwise, we just want to render a carousel item. We don't want it to be a link. So I'm going to say view element. And view element's going to take in like a list of children. But not a list of message, HTML message. So in the case where we do have a route, so this is the case where we don't have one. If we do have a route, we want to use that. We want to render an A tag, and I'm just gonna be explicit about the variable that's coming in. So there's the situation where we don't want it to be clickable. We don't want to render like a tag that does nothing. So we're gonna go the extra. I wouldn't say extra mile. We're gonna go the extra inch and just do it the right way with the span here. And then we don't need a label for that. I don't think. No, we don't need that. Okay. Just some photos. Cool. And then instead of item.route, it's going to be this. And then I'm going to say maybe with default. We'll never actually hit this case. So maybe that's lazy. Maybe I'm being lazy about it. But in this situation, we only want to render the carousel content if we do have a title. Case item.title of just title. Close. That was close enough. View carousel content. And we're going to pass that title through. Now we're just going to render nothing. So again, I'm just going to make a little helper function that allows us to get a nice annotation. It's going to make the error messages a little bit more friendly for us. And it's also going to allow us to break our code up so it's easier for us to read. That wasn't me. And I want to make sure that I align these all up. and everything's happy. Very cool. Let's go back to, well, not everything. There's something wrong. Oh, here we go. Text, title, item.detail. Oh, and then there's the none. So in the situation where we have no subtitles, don't render anything. That's totally fine. Okay, now everything should be happy, and we're not rendering extra data here, right? Let's see if that carousel content is gone. My boy, yes. Why not? No. That is very good. Very good pattern matching. Yes. Go on, good job. I like that. I saw you got Baldur's Gate 3, buddy. That's exciting news. Yeah, well, that's life for you. Okay, so we got our photos carousel. We've got our items. We've got each item. We have the image. It's just decorative, I guess. I wonder if there's things we can do better for accessibility. But look, we got Margot Bobby. Robert, Margaret. Close. Baldur's Gate was fun. It was our first session. Nice. You playing with a full party of 4? All right. Let's get some Gosling. Everyone wants to see some Ryan Gosling pictures. And by everyone, I just mean chat. And me. D&D nights. Oh, yeah. I feel like it just streamlined D&D. They nailed it. They did a good job. They did a very good job. Okay. So we've got photos. So we can go to people. Kate McKinnon. There's our overview. We've got some photos for that. I think that's a good checkpoint. Let's push that up. Push that up. Where's Holly at? Get wrecked. This is good. All right. Add photo carousel. She looks like she's having a blast. I don't know about you guys, but I think she's having a blast. All right. Guan, did you see the Barbie movie? TV shows, movies. I guess we can do the TV shows next. I kind of want to get rid of these blank pages. These blank pages are bumming me out. You should see the Barbie movie, Guan. It's very good. I think you'd enjoy it. Because it's just like... It's good. It's good stuff. Popular movies, top-rated movies, upcoming movies, now playing movies. This is going to be like a complete copy pasta of the movie detail for TV shows. Let's see what content it is. We can add this real quick, and then I can feel good about myself. So they've got popular TV shows. They've got top-rated TV shows. They've got TV shows airing today. Those are the 3 categories. Let's do it. Let's add this page in. I also really like this song, so I'm going to turn it up. It's just how it is. How do you turn up volume? And if you're watching the recording of this, there's no audio, so I'm just dancing to something. Oh, you can see what it is. It means you probably won't get to... Oh, yeah, thumbs up for streaming. It's good. You should bring Holly. Yeah, so all this stuff, it's just going to get completely copied. I think TV shows has all of the same stuff. Yeah, cool. So API movie, we're going to have the same thing for TV show. Just like very basic information, stuff we're going to use in the carousels. All right, let's do this. Let's make it happen. So I'm going to start with where we... I'm going to start with like what we need, and then that's going to inform like what functions that I make inside of here. So TV, and it's going to be show ID. All right. right, so I placed that. TV. I really like this song. It's so chill. All right. Okay. So I want the TV show. I want to get the capitalization right. So we're going to call this TV show TVH Sao. I don't know how I feel about this. All right, API.TV show. Let's change that to TV. All right, now it's upset. That's cool, because it doesn't know what these are. I think this should be TV show. I think all these should be TV show, because it's just gonna be weird. I can't keep calling things TV. That doesn't even make sense. Like, what am I saying? All right. City's getting hot and now I'm fired up. All right, we're gonna change every instance of API.TV with API.TV show. Because we're winners, and we're not afraid to refactor in this code base. It's find replace, and then Elm will figure it out. Cool. All right, so we've got API.TV show. That should be a file kind of like this one. I cannot type TV show. That's my biggest weakness. So bad. All right. All right, we're listening to this now. All right, so what I want to do is get all these detail functions. So we're going to go back to the API reference. So we got movies, networks, people, reviews, search, TV series lists. All right, how are we doing the featured one? Top rated, is that what we have? All right, so we got top rated. Let's do that one. I think top rated is already in movies. Top rated. All right. I might change up the playlist a little bit. It's something I like. I don't think it's something I want to listen to right now. All right, we're gonna listen to my daily mix one. That's what's gonna happen. All right, movie, TV, top underscore rated. Hey, what's up, Spartan? What is shaking? We're making a web app. You showed up at the perfect time. All right, TV popular. Flutter and Node React. Flutter and Node React. Is Flutter Dart? Very cool. Flutter's Dart, right? All right, we got TV popular. We already have TV popular, so that's good. Very cool. What? I don't think I understand what. Oh, what's the app about? Oh, yeah, we're making this. So Taste.js has a movies app. So we're making, let me go to the one that works. We're making an example app for how to make this, but we're doing it in a framework called Elmland, which is something that I made for the Elm language. Yeah, it's front end only. Yep, there's no backend. I mean, there is a backend, it's just not ours. So this stream's mostly just adding the features, adding the CSS, fetching the data, that kind of stuff, error handling, and then it's all open source, and it's all available here if you want to ever check out the code. Cloud Engineer. Yeah, well, Yeah, this is just a front end only language, but feel free to hang out. It's not back end stuff though. I can say database a few times though. I can do that. That's what you're into. Oh, thanks for the follow. At a sound clip, I've never heard it before. I just added the alerts the other day, and that was terrifying. Was it like glass? What was that? But thank you for the follow, Spartan. Programmer vibe matched. Cool. All right. TV show details. All right, doesn't know about that because I never made it. Because I made it up. TV show details. How did I do that? Oh, TV series. Cool. So that's the same thing. We're just going to copy the details. We're going to need a lot less, but here we are. All right, so copying that over, I renamed a bunch of stuff. These API functions aren't going to work because I need to actually check the fields and see what's available and put some thought into it. But this is just a kind of a starting place for getting all the boilerplate where I need it to be, because then we can just whip up this page real fast. Okay, so we've got that. So what do we have? We had popular, top rated, and then we had airing today. So let's grab that. On the air. Is that something I had? Upcoming, I guess, is the... Yeah, we'll do airing today. Airting, ta-da. Airing today. All right, now we can start using our brain. Or we can start using my brain. You guys, chat can start using my brain at this part. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna figure out what's some basic, are these basic fields available on TV Show? That's the first thing we're gonna do. So in order to figure that out, we need to go into like the top rated endpoint and see what data comes back with results. So let's pick a TV show ID and see if we can get some real data coming back. So I'm gonna copy this link address. You've been using 150% of your brain? No, don't do that. Lay low. It's probably gonna end poorly for you if you do that. All right, that's insane. Such an insane concept. I don't trust people that say they give 110% because there ain't no way. There ain't no chance. Ain't no shot. All right, let's take a look. Top rated. Oh, top rated, we don't give it an ID, right? So I can just hit try it. Okay, so this is what we have access to. We have an ID. So let's go back to TV show. ID, looks like we use name instead of title. See, there's these subtle differences that are designed to just kind of screw up our query. Poster path. TV show. Release date, is that right? Our first air date will be our release date. And then overview, huh? Very cool. I have just the code for you. Can you add a slot for share where we have connection like Insta, X, etc.? Add a slot in the... Oh yeah, for the app so that you can share the movie. Right now what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to keep up with this. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like they have share links like this. This is what you're talking about, Spartan? Like the links in the overview? Or just like a share button. I don't know what this is. These are weird. That's not really a share link. I have emotes, I think. Oh, I can't have free emotes until I do something else. This is the current Nuxt app. Yep. This is what the Vue.js community put out at movies.nuxt.space. So Nuxt has space and Elm has land. That's really the difference between the two frameworks. All the media are opened. Yeah, I think that's doable. We'll probably It's probably be later though if we get to that. Vote average. Oh, I gotta change all these names. Vote average, poster path. I like image URL. That's actually a better name for me. Maybe release date. I should just leave. Okay, but this is actual data that's available on all TV shows, so that part's done. So I think this query will work. This one, TV popular. Is it popular and top underscore rated? Looks like that's right. Popular is right, and then airing today is airing underscore today. That's what I need to make sure is right. And then TV show decoder. I think all of these queries are going to work great. The details, though, I don't think is going to work. Because I need to know what am I doing? All right, we're looking at the API response here. Oh, and then we have all these append to responses that we might need access to, like the cast and all that stuff. Let's see what movies did. Credits and similar. I think credits is where we get the cast from. So, wow, they got a lot. They got a lot of stuff in here. What did they do for the detail here? They got cast and then similar. Okay, so this will be close when we get to the detail page. We don't need details to work right now, I don't think, because we're just doing the overview page. But, you know. All right, let's get back to that page. Wait, what am I doing? Oh, I am doing the detail page. Why am I a doofus? I wanted to do the landing page. Ah, whatever. I guess we'll get to it. Images and videos. Why do I want videos? Land versus space is a very good comparison. Elm is very grounded. Evolution goes at a tectonic pace. Yes, yeah. I will say Elm does move very slow. That is nice. And it's also not exciting. And so, you know, some people are like, where's my breaking change? Give me a breaking change. I'm trying to break my app. Do it now. All right, so this is the detail page. So I'm just gonna undo what I did for the detail page. I don't want to mess with that right now. I do want to mess with that eventually, but not right now. I'm trying to work on the, I think that means our page will load again. All right, that's good. We want to get TV shows. So we want to copy the implementation for movies, paste that for TV, and then TV shows. And this will be TV show. So this is going to be featured, popular, top rated, and then instead of upcoming, it's going to be airing today. And then what are all these? Just having fun, I guess. There's a lot of these. I made a mistake. All right, so there's the featured TV show. I don't think now playing's a thing. What do they have? All right, popular, top rated, airing today. We're gonna do that. What am I doing with this? This is crazy. Why would it do it like that? I guess it's fine. Cool. We're gonna do it that way. They're the same type, I think, but that's just life. Oh yeah, this is just TV, because that's gonna affect the URL. That's why that's different. Airing today. Upcoming TV shows. That'd be kind of cool. All right. We're gonna call this airing today. And then we're gonna get yelled at for everywhere that we ever said we're fetching. don't care about that. So I'm just deleting all these branches where we handle the thing from a result. View movie, view TV show, view TV show. That's right. All right, so we're gonna go to the hero component, and we'll see how that goes. Hero. All right, so we want view TV show. It's gonna be really similar to view movie. We're just gonna have different like tags here. So I've actually designed this in a way where it hopefully won't be too crazy. All right, so this is gonna be, oops, I don't want to change all of them. I just want to change these. Again, I just want to change these. What am I doing? Boop, boop. Show ID, description, rating, year, duration, background image. That's totally fine. And this will be a TV show. I cannot type show. I'm unable to type show. And then here it'll take us to show ID. I think that's right. All right, let's try that out. This is all we care about for the detail. So I just want to make sure that that is there. This will be show ID. And then this is a great function, but the trick is you have to expose it so that you can actually use it. That's something I forget more often than I'd like to admit. All right. If you make a function in a module and you never use, it's not very good. You can't just do it the wrong way. You got to do it the right way. Airing today TV shows. Cool. I want to put this at the top because it's the best. It's the most important. All right, what is wrong? All right, now playing. I don't think we want now playing anymore. Airing today. Top rated shows. How have I been doing this? Popular. I dig it. And I don't dig that. Whoa! What? Oh, yeah, I'm so stupid. I thought I did it, but that's nuxed. Okay, cool. That's what I expected. So we do have all of the carousels working because we actually checked the data that comes back and saw if it was okay. But this data is different. So our detail query for the TV shows, these are all based on the wrong fields. So we need to make it so that like similar movies, it would be a crazy field to have. Let's go through this list and see how we do. I'm so dumb. Okay. So this, we need a TV show decoder. It needs to hit TV. Otherwise, it's gonna go hit the movies endpoint. That's not what we want. That's not a very good error screen, to be honest with you. It's kind of not great. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have access to. I'm gonna move this decoder up by the definition of TV show because otherwise it's gonna be very hard to keep these in sync. I don't know why I did it the way I did it. All right, so we've got that. We got first air date. Director. I don't think that's a thing. And I really wish that these linked. I gotta get Simon Lydell's implementation of this thing. It's so much nicer. First air date. Looks like I just take the left 4 characters of that string. Very cool. I'm not a smart person. I'm just a person. ID, overview, vote average, duration. Duration doesn't even make sense. Duration is crazy. Maybe we'll see how many seasons there are. All right, so we got image URL. Let's go back to TV. The details, and let's only grab the data we need. So name, vote average, draw for overview, duration, director, budget, revenue, all this stuff we don't care about. So we're just going to comment all that out. That fixed it. Cool. And then we got question mark, question mark, question mark. So here I'm going to put how many seasons there are. How about that? So let's go to the details for the TV. Get the details for a TV series. Episode runtime 43 minutes. Can I just say seasons.length or something? Yeah, I'll do seasons.length. All right, so we're gonna say seasons. And that'll be cool. And it's gonna be similar to this. But it's gonna be a season decoder. I think. Oh, I guess it'll be like this. Instead of genres, though, we're gonna do seasons. So I'm just doing this one step at a time. We have a season decoder. That is a decoder to describe how we're going to get the fields off the JSON that come back from the API. So this is one of the more tedious things, I think, in Elm, but it's the thing that makes working with HTTP really reliable. So it's kind of a... I have mixed feels. I'm glad it prevents bugs, but this part's kind of boring. In like a JavaScript app, you could just start pulling fields off in the middle of your HTML, and it's so much quicker, but if a field's missing, it's really hard to debug it. I'm just gonna grab the ID for the season. Hopefully season has an ID. Let's take a look and see if that's true. Ugh. Seasons. It does have an ID. And then the season number. I think that's fun to have, number. And I'm just gonna do this, and instead of saying it's an API ID decoder, I'm gonna say json.decode.int. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna leave this off for now because we have access to all that. Genre, cast member. I'll leave that all in for now. This is all kind of unused. Well, I guess I could just steal it from movies when I need it. I don't know why I'm being paranoid. All right. Okay, let's see what we got. Did we have a TV thing that works? Oh, this isn't us. This is us. So we got these question marks. What I want to do is instead of question mark, question mark, question mark, we are going to take the amount of seasons. So we're going to say we'll get the length of the featured TV show. So this is going to be, we'll do a little local expression here. Number of seasons. I'm going to say if number of seasons equals 1, then we're going to say 1 season. Otherwise, we're going to say string.fromInt plus seasons. Because plural matters. All right, that's not a list. All right, that's a list. And then just to add an annotation for clarity, do this. This is kind of nested inside of an object, so I'm going to bubble this up so it's a little bit easier to see where it's at. So now you'll see that Law of Order has 23 seasons. I should have even like looked what they did. They don't do it. They don't show the seasons like we do. It's pretty cool. So yeah, so that's like details for that. If I click on this, again, we have nothing. So this is where we could steal the code from the movie detail. Let's start by just pushing what we have, and then you guys can play around with it on movies.elm.land. So we added that, added basic details, just enough to get that page working. And then we just rename that file. I think that's great. Okay. Add TV shows overview page. Plural matters. Yeah, the parenthesis S. It's like, how hard was it for you to just check? It's like, if that is one, but whatever. Sometimes you gotta go. I get it. I ain't doing that, but sometimes someone's gotta do that. Alright, I'm gonna say Barbie and hit enter. That's really cool, actually. I love that. Search page would be fun to implement. Why don't we do that? Okay, let's stay focused. I'm gonna finish the TV shows thing. Because then you can click it and then it can feel good. Because then you'll have all this stuff connected. So, this is what we've got in the Nuxt app. I'm just gonna try to replicate what we have for now in the Movies app. So I wanna see overview of the movie. I wanna see the cast. I wanna see similar TV shows. Totally. Yeah, Rails. Elmland is trying to get to Rails energy. All right, it's not as good as Rails because Rails is like years of progress, but hopefully the compiler helps on the front end. So all the work that I didn't do, all the hard work Evan did, is why Elmland is good. Oh man! All right, top rated airing today. See, I did capital letters everywhere, but then I didn't do a capital letter here because I'm an animal. Front end, some people think front end's not hard. It's hard because what if there's a lowercase t and I get fired? It matters. One Piece. I'll get the One Piece detail page working just for you, Guan. That's gonna be the one I do. Glad you're vibing. Glad you're vibing with that, because I am too. I've spent a long time trying to do it the fun way, and I think there's still a place for that, but it's nice to have someone just tell me the normal way, and then I can do that. Capitalize letter T. All right, folks, you can go to this URL and you can see the feature that we just implemented. It's pretty cool. Thanks, Netlify. Shout out at Netlify user on Twitch. Oh yeah, this is a horrible ID. All right, I'm not gonna make a deployment for this, but I'm gonna fix it. Airing. What am I doing? No movies found. Top rated shows. Airing shows. Just want to make sure that is consistent. Can I share a piece of code? For what? For Elm? Show me your love, why don't you? Sure. What, with like a Ellie link, or how are you gonna share it? Oh, whispering? Sure. Grow up and say, show me your love, why don't you? Okay, got some HTML here. Oh, cool. This is for share links. Got it. This is what you were describing earlier? Cool. Did you make that in CodePen? How'd you get all the snippets in the thing? All right. Nice. You can share the CodePen if you want. Thank you. Yeah, it'll probably be a minute till we do any type of share stuff. I'm not sure if this project is going to use that. This is just kind of going off a spec of like an existing thing. So I'm not taking too many liberties here. I'm just trying to make sure that I can fetch all this data and have an example for people so that they know how they can hit a REST API and get the content that they want, if that makes sense. All right, let's take a look. What am I trying to do? So I want to get all these. I want to get all this stuff. Let's just do what I was doing earlier before I realized I was doing it wrong. So this is going to be show ID. And then this is going to be TV. Shoot, that's actually a bad example. This will be TV. This will be TV show. All these videos are. Like, I'm not actually using the videos, so I'm not going to do that. Images for the movie. I'm not using that either. I think I was halfway through implementing this, and then yeah, I don't even fetch it. You can see I just set it to nothing. I'm like halfway through that feature, and then pulled out. I was like, nope, 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 nope. View tabbed layout. Oh, that's right. I was working on this. Well, that's cool. I didn't realize I was that far along. Do that. So I think when we get to that tabbed layout stuff, we're going to be able to use that. And then we can get tab out of here. TV show. What is called show. And then we don't need to fetch that data because we don't have tabs anymore. So I'm just deleting a bunch of code that we're not using right now. Show name. Oh, and this is going to be 2 seasons. Let's reuse that season count. So we had that on this page. Yeah, what's the question? All right, so we're going to say to season count. We're just going to make a little helper for that. So we can do api.season to season count. And we'll just say featured TV show.seasons. And it's going to be like, what is API season? And we're going to sit. I just typed that, dude. All right. Clip that one. That was not even close to what I needed to type. I actually don't work at a company. I put in my 2 weeks notice. And what is this? I am taking a gap year. So I'm going to be doing a lot of like open source stuff. And we'll see how the year goes. And if I can figure out how to be financially independent, then cool. And if not, I'll just go back to being a front-end dev. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of this open source stuff. And I feel like it would be nice to have a year to focus on it. But yeah. I could try DevOps. I like front end. I also feel like I might do some like more educational content. I might do some more YouTube videos, something that's like long lasting that people can reference. But nothing's really set in stone right now. List of seasons, and now I'm gonna turn that to a string. What is this? 2 season count. I guess it's like to season count label. So I'm gonna do season. I'm gonna do decoder, because we're gonna just take the decoder from before, and then I'm gonna also expose to season to seascon count label. Yeah, I'm uploading these streams to my YouTube channel. Oh, I should probably I have that. Do I have a command for my YouTube channel? Nope. How about this one? Nope. Let me add that real quick. Let's see how good I am at coding. I'm gonna open this on my computer. And then I'm gonna do that. And then I'm gonna open up, oops, I guess, yeah. This is crazy, actually. I don't even know what my YouTube is, to be honest. All right, space. I'm gonna have a YouTube command. What is it? youtube.com/@. I don't really know if this is my, is this even my link? I don't even know this is my YouTube channel. Oh, it is. Damn. Okay, that worked. All right, saving that. All right, try !YT in chat, see if that works. I have, yeah, it's really weird. I've got, this is my MacBook. I've got my Windows computer streaming the, thanks Gwen. Yeah, so that's my YouTube channel. These streams will be uploaded there. And then there's a bunch of like educational stuff on, every December I do Advent of Code. So there's like some playlists there if you want to like dive into like how to build stuff with them. What is going on? Oh, I need to move this mouse off my screen because that will drive me nuts. Yeah, I've got like a monitor for the stream, and then I've got what I see, and then I can see, now I can see where I'm at on the screen, so I know if I'm blocking something, which is fun. But yeah, it's a wild ride what I got going on here. All right, I'm gonna move this season stuff over here. And then here I can go api.season.decoder. Season exposing season. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to figure out how I wanted to do it. I keep my phone away so I don't get weird vibrations while I'm streaming. It's pretty far. But yeah, that is one way to do it. All right, so we're just gonna import some stuff. Extra.json, and then api.id. Okay, number of seasons. Sorry, so all this is just to reuse that logic that we had before. List.length, seasons. And again, I like to do annotations here so that people know what's going on when they read the code when I push it online. All right, so that's what I got for that. And then to season count label. And then I don't need this anymore, which is nice. So this code gets a little bit less messy. And then when I come over here, I'll have something I can use. Show. Import. Oh yeah? Do you have an Android phone? Show name. First air date. Nice. Yeah, I've got a Pixel. I might switch to what is this? Oh, that's right. All right, so if I want to view the cast, oh, I should probably fetch the cast if I want to view the cast, and then I want to fetch similar TV shows. So that's perfect. All right, so let's see if I can get these working. So the way I get these working is I need to update the data that comes back for the TV show. I want to add back in cast, and I want to say similar TV shows. I'm gonna make. Let's see if they're the same actually. So I'm gonna go to the movies details, Movie decoder. Again, this should be closer to the thing. Okay, so we got cast member, ID, name, character, profile, path. So I think this should get moved to its own module. Because otherwise it's going to be a whole thing. So let's take a look at what comes back. So when I go to the details and I did cast, I'm going to collapse all this. Why did I pick the show with 23 seasons? All right. Similar. Okay, here's the credits, cast, credits, crew. Okay, so cast, does it have access to all these fields? So credits, cast, ID, name, character, profile, path. I see ID, I see name, I see character and profile path. So I'm going to take this cast member thing and I'm just going to extract it. So I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to say import api.cast member, exposing cast member. And now when I save this, I can create in the API a cast member module, and that's just going to encapsulate all the work that we did from before. API cast member, exposing cast member, and we're going to expose the decoder. Now that this is in its own module, we don't need to prefix it with cast member. We'll know what we're talking about. And then we're going to import these two modules. We're also going to need to import image URL. And then I think that's it. All right, so this module's happy. We can close that. I come back to this, and then it's like, yo, what happened to my function cast member decoder? That's been moved. This is just Elm's compiler walking us through all the refactoring. So that should be done. Module Guan, exposing myself. Guan, you have to use parentheses if you're going to be exposing. You can't be making jokes with the wrong syntax. All right, let me cool. So then this is going to be cast member. Cool. Thought I saw a bracket. You got to be sharper, Guan. You can't be, you know, watching the stream and making mistakes, because that's a big mistake. Unforgivable. I forgive you. All right. Do this. Oops. And then cast members decoder. What's this garbage? So cast members decoder, they happen to be the same. I'm not gonna reuse this because this is like specifically for this response. Where can I find the cast members? I don't see much benefit to reusing that. And then similar TV shows, we're gonna want one of those. Let's take a look at what that meant for movies. It looks like we're not gonna need to create a new module because we already created an API TV show module, so we should be good. So similar movies, TV shows, decoder, boom. And then instead of this, we're gonna do .tv show. Wow, does that just work? Let's see if it does. Wait, whoa, is the whole thing compiling? Look at that. We just made an entire page. That's pretty sick. All right, let's look at some similar shows. Guan, do you know any of these? Call it out if you see it. Codebreaker sounds familiar. Cheat Magician? Not me. I feel like I've seen Yu Yu Hakusho. Lazy Town. Definitely seen some Lazy Town memes. Yu Yu Hakusho. Hakusho? How do you say that? Did I say it right? Cool. Sweet. So we've got similar recommendations. We can click on cast members. Just see multiple photos of the person. This is a weird app. But it's working. All right, so now we can see upcoming movies. We can say now I'm playing movies. We can see TV shows. Oh, let me see. When I click on TV show, does it say movie? No, it doesn't. We're good. How did I fix that? I guess I'm just good at stuff, huh? Oh yeah, I have this as a placeholder when you can't find a movie's image. It's not great, but that's all I got. But yeah. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Let's push that up. Oh, 205. Wow. Okay, that just moves stuff. I'm just gonna delete this. I don't need to keep things in comments. I'm not a scaredy cat. I can just look at the code. It's Git and it's in another file. And I feel good. I think we're making really solid progress on this. All right, so add TV show detail page. I'm finally like happy that I have like a framework where I can just like get stuff done and I'm not like fiddling with like limitations, like self-imposed limitations that I made by half implementing something, you know? So it took us about 45 minutes, it looks like. Very cool. All right. I think search is the only thing that is like blaringly blank to me, right? Because everything else, when you click it, no similar shows found. Wow, this is really original. Everyone should watch this show if you're looking for something that you've never seen before. No one can even begin to describe what the show's like. It's got Rebecca Ben-Hamur. She only has one picture. But yeah. This is very cool. All right, let's get that search working. And then we can search, and then we can feel nice. And say that we have a completely working app that might look like garbage on mobile. I didn't test the mobile for this, did I? I guess this one's fine. This one just wraps. Everything's cool. I've got a responsive nav bar at the bottom. And then when you click on a movie, that's responsive. That's pretty good. And then if you click Law and Order, yeah, that's responsive too. When you click a cast member, it's a person. I want to round the edges of that photo. That's what I want to do with my free time in life. I want to take that photo. I want to say border radius. I want to say 8 pixels. And I want to say overflow hidden. I want to say 16 pixels. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Isn't that cuter with a little bit of bubble? Oh yeah, we should definitely align top though on this row. Responsive row needs align top. That's getting there. Then we're gonna say align top. And that's gonna align top on all things. I think. Align top on. Align top. Desktop. This is garbage. I'm garbage. Alright. We're gonna make another one of those crazy classes. And then here, we're not even gonna have it be set, align items, flex start. So now we got rounded edges here at the bottom. It was subtle, but it was important. It looks like I do that here too, so I'm glad. I just felt it. I felt it in my heart. And then I think I want to have a little bit more padding on this. Cool. That's Jeffrey Donovan, everyone. I don't know why I have this cool animation. It's like I'm not gonna make it bigger. Maybe I should make it when you click it, it expands the image. So you can really creep on Jeffrey Donovan. If I made a platform that allows you to creep on Jeffrey Donovan, I think I succeeded as a front-end engineer. He looks so bored in this one. He's like, fine, I'll do it, but I'm not gonna like the picture. Okay. All right, let's do search, and then we can add more features to pages later. But I do want to ship something that we can share. We can have pretty cool GIFs. You can heart it on Twitter. I just saw a hawk. That's pretty cool. And then after we get the search working, we'll have like a real app, and then we can just incrementally improve it over time. I think that'll be a good spot to end the stream. So let's do that. All right, so we've got our search page. Right now, it just says search, which is, you know, fine. It's not great. I can't say that I think that's good. So pages.search, we're just going to have it say search. So that title on that view is going to control what the tab says up here. So you'll see that now it says elmlandmovies.search. And then here, this is the body of the page. So everything we do here is going to show up in the body. Basically, the content inside of the layout. So that default layout, we're getting a lot of mileage out of it. We just have one layout for this app. I think what I want to do is I want to have a minimum height for this search page. So I'm just going to make a class for page search. And it's going to be like, what's an adder? And I'm like, good question. Let me tell you. So we're going to import that. That's going to allow us to add attributes. And then we're going to add a bit of CSS just to center it and give it a minimum height. So it's going to be pretty similar to this, but it's going to be a little bit different. And so for that reason, we're going to use a different CSS class. Center it. Is it going to be the exact same? Oh yeah, we want a minimum height. This is just going to keep the nav bar or the footer kind of off the screen. I don't know why I want to do that. I just do. All right, let's add a search bar. Let's add some interactivity. This will be fun. So when we add search bars, what we can do is we can add an input. Let's see how Nuxt structures the page. It says search. It says type something to search and type to search. So if I type barb, it just goes, okay? So after some delay of typing, looks like it goes, it gets all the results back, and then it shows them in this grid. I don't know why that is something that I'm gonna get taken off the internet for this. Let's look up anything else. Oh my God. Everything's bad. Everything's graphic. So we're just going to have a search bar. We're not going to put ours in the top left corner. But we will have a search bar that says search for movies, you know, whatever. Search. Can you search for people? Ryan Gosling. Okay, so they just kind of mix all the results together. That's fine. Search for movies, TV shows, and people. And then we're going to have an input. And let's see what that looks like. Cool. This is a label. It's all on one line because we're getting wild. Column. We're going to get a little bit of a gap in there. PX. I think 8 pixels is good. And I'm going to say input will be the class we use. So I'm just going to kind of snap the CSS to the right side here. And then we're going to have our markup on the left, and we're going to have the CSS on the sides. This is going to be our input. And we're going to have a solid border. It just inherits the color for now. Let's see what I want. I want var color FG3. FG2. Let's make it a little bit more legible. I kind of want to have a background. Background color of BG2. BG3. That looks nice. All right. Then we're gonna have a height. I'm gonna give it 64 pixels. Cool. Hello. That's really tiny. Here's what I'll do. I'll give it a padding and then I'll give it a font size. Padding, 2 rems, and a font size. Let's just do 2 rems. Ryan Gosling. Cool. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a class here. This is gonna be input label. Let's call this input search actually. And this will be display. No, I don't want to do that. I want to add an icon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little div here. Cool. And then I think for the input label, we're gonna want way too dank. I think the this should probably have a secondary color. That's way too hard to read. This looks horrible. All right. Looks so bad. All right, display flex for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure. And then I want to have the input be display flex. I don't know what I'm doing. Column, let's inspect. Do I have to do like with 100% or something? What am I doing here? So that div is, yeah, this needs to be with 100%, with fill, I guess. Oops. Input search. And this will be with, no, that's already with 100%. I want the input to be that. Let's add some border radius. And I want to add, this is way too big. This font size is massive. Cool. And then what I wanted to do is have a bit of a padding to the left. Not a padding, but yeah, I guess padding left is good. Because I wanted to leave space on the left for a search icon. So let's do that. Do I have an icon for search? I guess I do. Do I just put the icon in? I guess not. What the heck is this? Oh, there it is. I was like, what? All right. And then we're gonna make this input icon, I guess. And then what input icon's gonna have is it's gonna be absolutely positioned, which means that shoot. Label. All right, this is a lot of typing, a lot of CSS. All right, input, container, position relative, input icon. This will be position absolute. Top 50%. Left, we'll give it some padding on the left. We have to do a transform to offset the 50 so that the middle is the center, not the top. Game's hard, but we want to make it. Oh, wait, what? Where did I put that? Oh, garbage. I'm like, why did it change the input? So hopefully that'll put the search icon over the input. I gotta do... I don't know why that's not there. Oh, it doesn't have a size. That could be an issue with 2 rems. What the heck? Oh, its input search should have that. I see it. What color is it? What? It's here. Oh, it needs to start with icon search fill because I made an incredibly fragile selector. Because I am an incredibly fragile man. Yeah, sorry. I don't know why. That was the first time I ever did icons like that. It's not good. Don't do it that way. All right. Oh, fine. Ryan. Cool. All right, so I'm typing. Notice that this Elm debugger isn't doing anything. That's because I'm garbage, and we haven't added that yet. So it looks the way I want it to look. Good, because I'm very done with that CSS. So what you do in Elm when you want to like bind some input events is you can use HTML events on input. We can make this whole thing a form if we're being cool. Form. I guess I can make this a form. And then we can say HTML events.onSubmit. Submitted search. I don't think there is a submit for this because it just seems to be firing every 3 seconds. So we're just going to leave that alone. So on input, we're going to say search input changed. And then it's going to be like, what is that? What is that, Ryan? So we have to define that message. And we're going to say that holds on to a string. So the new value of the input is going to come through. So the value of the string will update the search. And then that'll be a variable that we can add to the model. So initially, when our app starts up, we're going to say that we want the search field just to be a blank string. And then as we type, it's going to update that value on our model. And we're going to be able to use that value in our model to fire a query. And we're going to throttle the query so that after 300 milliseconds or 500 milliseconds, it'll actually send the search. Otherwise, we're going to constantly be every keystroke sending a thing. Yeah, exactly. And I'll show you how to do that because I had to do that recently for I have another Elmland project that I'm working on where I was hitting the GitHub API doing a search. It's going to be surprisingly easier than you think. Or depending, maybe you think it'll be easy. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you think it'll be a breeze. All right, so now we are getting things changing, but what I want to do is I want to bind the value here so that I can show you something very cool that I love to do. You ready for this? See that? Elm debugger. Whee! This is I think the most practical application of the Elm debugger is just having fun. It is good for debugging your program, but I have the most fun just typing in an input and then playing it back. Anyway, so we are changing the model. The model is we got two-way binding, two-way data binding going on here. So if we set the initial search to Ryan when the app starts up, that is going to sync that up with the field when the page loads. So eventually it will refresh. There we go. I got to do some performance work because that's way too slow. Okie dokie. That's it. Okay, so what we need to do is every time I type, I I don't want to send a request out. So let's do a delayed message, and we're gonna do that by creating a custom effect. So we have delayed, we have send message. I'm gonna make something called send delayed message. So this is some bonus points stuff here. So send delayed message is going to be over here. Send delayed message. So I'm gonna make a function that takes a delay in milliseconds. So delay in milliseconds, it'll take a message, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna do process.sleep. I'm gonna convert that integer to a float by doing basics dot to float. I don't need the basics prefix. I just like to do that to make it clear where that function's coming from, in case you ever want to see. And then after I wait for that specified amount of milliseconds, I will actually let me do task dot succeed. No, task dot perform. I don't need a map. And then it's going to complain about not knowing what process is, because I haven't imported that yet. So we're just going to import that module. This comes with the core Elm package. So process is not some fancy thing that I have access to. But now that we have send delayed message, I'll just add a little comment here to describe what it does. Send a message after a certain number of milliseconds have passed. Useful for debouncing or throttling HTTP requests. All right, so all we did so far was we made something called send delayed message. We're using the existing send command. We've exposed that here. So I'm gonna move this up here by send message. Actually, I think it's a good practice, and I might start encouraging this for folks in the Elm community, is if you have any custom effects, just keep them separated out so people can see. The effect module is something that's customizable, so it's kind of nice to separate them. I'm gonna see if I can do this too. No, Elm format just destroyed me. Okay, send delayed message, and that's gonna control the order that it renders here also. All right, so now we have a send delayed message thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say effect.send delayed message, and I'll be like user changed input, and I'm gonna send the value that came with the event, and I'm gonna send the delayed message after, let's just say 500 milliseconds. So what this is gonna do, let's make this dramatic actually. Let's do this after 5 seconds. So model effect.none. So user changed input. So how this is gonna work is it's gonna call search input changed, and then 5 seconds later, we're gonna get a user changed input event. 5 seconds is crazy. We're not actually gonna do that in practice, but let's open up the debugger. Let's float it over my big bulky head. And then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna type in 1, 2, 3. You'll see that all these messages are search input changed, and now right about now, you'll see 1, 2, 3 trickle in. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna send the value here, and we're gonna say if the value matches what's in my model, then I'm gonna perform the effect. Otherwise, I'm not. So here, this is gonna be, API.search. Run or something. I don't know. Fetch. I don't know. I don't care. Get. And this will be the query. And what we're gonna see is that if I type in ABC, when A and B get called, it's not gonna match model.search, and then when C gets called, it will. So only one query is gonna go out within that time. So we're going to see that in the network tab. Query equals value. And so the 500 milliseconds is just the amount of time that we're kind of giving as buffer as the debounce time. I think there's some fancy Elm packages for this. I don't use them. I just do that. For strings, it's very easy. Maybe for other more advanced use cases, that's useful. Cool. On response, fetched, sorry, API search, fetched, I guess, or responded. And so that's going to be one more message, and we're going to make an API search module. And then we're just going to say that there's going to be a search result. So it doesn't know what this is. That's an existing module. And then it doesn't know what API.search is. That is a module we haven't created yet. So we're going to create this module in our API folder. Module, API search, and we are going to expose a, I don't know what I said, run, get, I don't know. I'm a big dummy. Search, result. I'm just going to expose all these. There's going to be a few different types of search results that come back. You can get a movie, a person, a TV thing. So we're going to say that, you know, whatever. We're going to import all kinds of stuff. I'm going to just steal it from, what should I steal it from? Let's do movies popular for now. This is a good starter. Because that's kind of lightweight and there's not too much to change. So here we're going to have a custom type. We're going to say on. I'm going to use on to differentiate the constructor for search result from the actual value we hold on to. So on person, we're going to have a person value. On movie, we're going to have a movie value. And then on a TV show, we're going to have a TV show value. And so all these are just going to be empty type aliases for now. Cool. And then these will have IDs, these will have names, they'll have all sorts of you know, information, so we can show a little preview and like link to something. But the idea is here we'll have a list of search results. This will be a list of search results. And then I think we just want to succeed for now. Sorry, my nose is bothering me. So this is going to be search result decoder. So this is going to be a JSON decoder for search result. And so when you're trying to make a JSON decoder for a custom type, you want to use the oneof function. So the oneof function is going to allow you for each single data type that you're interested in checking out. Each one of these, you'll be able to create a decoder for that. So I'm going to use lowercase. And then you're going to map it through the on whatever, these constructors. So I'm going to save this and see what happens. And so here you'll see that all of these are upset because they don't exist. JSON.decode.decoder. Uppercase that. JSON.decode.succeed. And I'll just succeed with that. You can also succeed with a constructor. Elm custom types are kind of magical. They are types, and they're also constructors for themselves. So that's another way to do it. Okay, so here what I want to do is instead of hitting movie popular, I want to find out what that search endpoint is. So let's take a look. And then instead of fetch, do that, and then I want to pass that query through for sure, because we want to actually search with a query in mind. So let's take a look at how search works in the official API docs. So I'm going to make this wide again. Search. Keyword search. So I'm going to say Ryan. I'm going to say try it. Cool. What is this? Is that what I want? Maybe I want Ryan. Maybe include adult was set to true in the next step. Cool. So here we have. What? It's just one result? This can't be right. Well, multi. That's probably it. Movies, TV shows, and people in a single request. That sounds right to me. So we'll try that out. Okay, so here, how do we find, okay, media type. So we're gonna use the media type value to determine what what am I trying to say? What kind of data we get back. So we're gonna be able to check to see if it's a movie, if it's a TV show, or if it is a person. So we can do a switch case on media type. We don't need to use JSON to code on, but I'm just gonna use this data as like the way that I expect things to work. So here we'll do this. So for each one of these items, we're gonna expect there to be a media type string. Oops, a field. Oops. Sorry, I'm all over the place. We're gonna expect there to be a field called media type, which is type string. And then we're gonna say to search result decoder. So this will have access to the media type. And then we can return what this whole function is expecting, which is a search result decoder. So this is the media type. We've parsed that from the JSON. Now we have it as a variable. So this will only get called if it finds this. Otherwise, the whole thing will fail. And then what we can do is say the case or the media type is of person. We're going to do this. And I'm just going to do some multi-character cursor stuff. And these strings are wrong, right? The media type's not going to be that. So I got to come back and say I expect movie to be the media type here, TV to be the media type there, and if there's anything else, I want to fail and say I don't recognize this. Unrecognized media type. And I'm going to print out in the JSON error what that error is, or what that media type was. Maybe it was TV show or something, and I got it wrong. This is just kind of to help me during debugging, but this isn't an error message a user would see. Cool. And now that I've done this, I can assume in these decoders that I actually do have a person record in the person situation. So let's just start from movie, because we have that here. Let's grab the ID. Let's grab the title. What was the subtitle? The ratings? I think the vote average was the thing we used. So I'm just using things that we use in the previews, and also I need the ID so I can like link to that. So we'll start with movie, and I'm just gonna reverse the order of this because that matches the random result set that I got. Title string. We're gonna have the, was it vote average? It's gonna look a lot like this, huh? I don't need an overview, so I'm gonna leave that out. I think that's right. And let's just verify that the fields that I copy pasted here are available in that response. So ID, title, vote average. I see ID, I see title, I see vote average. Poster path, excuse me, poster path, yep, and release date. So that looks good for movies. Let's do the same thing for TV show. Let's copy everything. I'm intentionally leaving out the overview field, and I'll delete it. So here, we're going to leave out overview again. We're not going to use that in the preview. So I think that's good. And then, of course, we need to import these things here. That's not how you type import. Don't try that at home. That's not going to work. Cool. So once we have that, we're going to have, oops, this needs to be called TV show decoder. And this has 5 fields, so we're going to use a map 5. Same with this. We're getting a syntax error, which is preventing us from Where's decoder coming from? Oh, I did that again. So that's shadowing error. But if we did map 6, Elm would tell us. It would be like, yo, like, you gave me 5 fields and said you wanted 6. Heads up. You did something wrong. Cool. So, and then with person, what did we need for person? Let's take a look at cast member. I think that's about what we needed for cast member. So we're gonna, that's what we used at least when we did the search. So I'm just gonna take cast members decoder. I don't see any harm in that. I'm just gonna copy the whole thing. If I can figure out how to copy. And then I'm just gonna paste the whole thing, and we're just gonna do this, selectively delete things. Whatever confuses you most as I'm just hopping around these files, that's the way I'm gonna do it. Cool. So we got movies, we got TV shows, we got person, and that should give us enough of a snippet to figure out what we need. So I'm also gonna expose specific to this module what I mean when I say person, movie, TV show, and that'll allow the calling code to be able to access those as type annotations if it wants to make local variables and stuff like that. And I'm also going to organize it in the doc comments here so that it's easier to glance this module and kind of see how it's structured. Okay, that's it, I think. I mean, I probably made a typo somewhere and screwed something up, but if I didn't, I think we're good. Results is good. Let's try this out, see how it goes. And the endpoint is going to be search/multi, and I'm going to pass in the query as a query parameter. So query, I'm going to do this little cute trick here, and I'm going to do string.replace query. You know what I should do? I should use Elm comes with a URL package, and that makes it so you can safely encode URLs. I'm going to do that, otherwise I'm going to end up in a bad spot with this. So we're going to say ++url.builder.toQuery. And this is going to allow me to do things like this. I can, say I have a query field, here's my value, and it's automatically going to percent encode, and I'm not going to have any issues from stuff like that. So string, query, and then I can say options.query. And those options are coming in as arguments to this function up here. So that's where the options query is coming from. And what's cool about this is I can even, there's something called URL search params in JavaScript. It's really similar to this, which allows you to kind of safely compose these things without doing a bunch of string concatenation. Oops. So I'm going to do that. False. Include adult is false. And then yeah, language en. That's okay. Cool. I don't think I care about the language. Maybe I do, but whatever. Language en US. Sure. Is that an underscore or a dash? Okay, it's a dash. Okay. So this should take care of that question mark and everything for me, and I won't have to worry about it. That's what I love about Elm's docs, is that it gives you examples. One of the things is I'm like, what happens? Do I do the question mark or do they do it? So it's really nice that the docs, all the packages have that built in. Cool. All right, I've got API search. All right, what's it upset about? Oh, I need to handle it when the data comes back. Okay, so I should either have the results. Let's just take the whole result. Search is going to equal api.response.fromResult. Result. Effect.none. We are really close. We just need to import this and define that field. So on our model, oops, looks like results. It's going to be a response to the list of search result, which is coming from API search. I'm going to just call this search results. And then I should probably rename search to query. I think that's just a little clearer. But initially we do want to Actually, we don't want loading here. We want to have a maybe. So before the user types, we're not actually requesting anything. So maybe we have a response. Maybe we didn't actually send the query out. Some people use remote data for this, so that they have 4 variants. I like to have a response or like a request here, and then just use a maybe in the rare situations where I need to have that not asked state. All right, I'm going to change this to query. And this is going to be search results. Change that to query. And then we'll get some compiler error messages. List of API. Oh, that's right. This will be just. And then here, what I want to do is when this happens, as soon as this happens, I want to show the loading spinner, even if we're debouncing. API.response.loading. And then I don't want to change things at all with this debounced thing. I think that's okay. That looks good to me. And then model.query. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say case model.search results. And then here we can start to branch on all the possibilities. So if I have nothing, it's just going to be like, no search performed. I won't show that in the app. I just want to show that for debugging. And then I can be in the loading state. And so hopefully with this crazy 5-second delay, we'll see loading for a while. And then we'll see that the bouncing is working as we expect. So API response success. Here are the results. And I'm just going to debug.toString them, so you can see them. And then in the case where API response.failure, HTTP error, we're going to use API.error to helpful message, and that's going to help our user understand what went wrong. It's particularly useful if they're offline. I was at a coffee shop a few months ago, and my fiance was trying to add money to our card, and she had to pay, and she kept hitting it, and it was like fail, 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 and I wouldn't tell her why, and she realized that she wasn't connected, or she turned off her she was in airplane mode or something like that, and the app would not tell her that hey, I can't connect, so it's really nice to have messages like this, so you can get something like this for your user rather than bad or crash. But yeah, that's just a little tirade there. Okay, let's see how we're doing. So what I want to do is I want to inspect the network tab to show the debouncing. So if I type in Ryan, unexpected API response, cool. Notice that one API response went out. Did I do 500? Yes, that's 500 milliseconds. But notice that one API response went out, not a whole bunch of them. Okay, so it looks like we got an unexpected API response from the search. Problem. Okay, let's see what that is. And I'm just going to print this out. I'm going to debug log this, because the debugger clips it off, which is kind of annoying. But such is life. All right, so this will get restarted. And then hopefully we'll just see one failure. Problem with the value at JSON results. Expecting an object with field name character. I don't know. Oh, you know what? That's cast. I didn't verify that the person response has any of those fields that I put in there. So that one's on me. I mean, it's all on me. I made the code base. But if we look at person, there's no such thing as character. That's not a thing. There's no character field. So what we want to do is back in our search field, when I decided that character is something, I don't know what character is. Oh, that's if you're a cast member, what character you played. So this is going to be Known for department. How about we do that? So that I'll say like acting or whatever, actor. Known for acting. That sounds good. And then we do have profile path. Cool. And we have ID and name. So this should be good. Let's try it again. Oops, that's not ours. So we do Ryan. And there we go. We've got our results. Obviously, this isn't very useful, so let's make it pretty. Let's make a grid and let's get this page working. So I'm going to add some gaps. I'll do some minor things, cosmetic stuff. So if I don't have any search results, that's fine. Column, gap, px32. So this is going to give us a little bit of spacing while we're searching. So as I type, you'll see loading shows up, and then after 500 milliseconds, we'll get our result. And now it's just up to us to render a grid of these tiles. So let's do that. I'm going to just make a function here called view search results. And it's just going to pass the list of search results. We're not going to pass any of that other state. We don't need the query. We don't need the uncertainty of did we get a result back or not, because that's already been handled by our case expression. Ugh. So we've got our search results, and then we're gonna create a grid. And I'm just gonna assume that the grid has everything we need to be responsive and whatever. We'll put all that in the CSS. Then what we really want to do here is we want to say list.map view search result. Yeah, and then we'll just give it search results. And so view search result is just like view search results, except it's just going to be singular. We're not going to have to worry about the list anymore. We're going to be able to define how we want each individual result to render. So in the case that we have a search result, and it is api.search.onMovie, we'll have our movie, and we can say movie. And we can do this for all sorts of TV show. So on TV show, we've got our show. And then on person, we're going to be able to decide how we render the person. So now, when this reloads and we search for Ryan, we're going to see just these words, movie, show, person. So getting we got movie, show, movie, show, movie, movie, show, movie, show, 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 movie, movie, show, movie, show, movie, movie. So we're getting there. Just thought that would be helpful. All right, let's take a look. So the carousel renders those tiles. I don't know if I have that tile renderer extracted, right? So this is like the content. This is view element. View carousel item is really what we want to use. So I could expose this if I'm feeling lazy. Am I feeling lazy? I'm feeling lazy. Let's just get it on the page, and then we can see if we want to refactor it in its own module. It's not a big deal. We can expose item. At least I'll be good about how lazy I am. Cool. So now we have access to view carousel item, and that determines the item that we have. And then the details. I guess I'd have to expose all of this. It's gonna be a big pain, huh? Oh, whatever. We'll just start with that, and we'll work our way backwards. Either way, I feel like I'd have to expose all this stuff. It's just a matter of what modules it's gonna live in. Oh wow, Elm format just fixed that. That was very cool. Okay, almost there. So we're gonna get a grid of tiles going. Let me just do the grid part, because I feel like that will be easier to, let's search for something. And then let's get the grid working in CSS. We'll copy the CSS in. Grid, perfect. We're going to display grid. And then we'll see if I can remember this. It's like grid template columns. Repeat for 1FRs. I don't know what I'm doing. Autofill Wait a minute. Does this only have one child? Oh, these are all spans. I'm a doofus. Anyway, let's go back to the search page. Let's wrap these in some elements. And let's just update our CSS to include a grid. I got a row. Rows and columns. Let's make one for grids. Why did I do it that way? All right, let's see if that does what we want it to do. Ryan. Cool. All right, we have a grid. Dang. I really did not expect myself to get that because I feel like I Google that every single time. I always forget the syntax for CSS grid. I guess it's just a matter of time before I figure it out. Cool. So now hopefully these have some spacing. Very cool. Let's render those tiles. So the way we can do that is we can say components.carousel.view carousel item. And then it's up to us for each of these branches to describe what's the title, what are the details, what's the URL, etc. So I'm going to do that for all these branches. And it's going to complain because it doesn't know what this component is. And then after that, it's going to complain that we didn't give it the information that that function expected. So it's saying, oh yeah, that's right. I don't need a message. What am I doing? Do I actually need a message for this? Yeah, I don't need a message for these. So by making this lowercase, oops, we're making it not specific to this component. So when you click the left and right arrows in the carousel, there's special behavior that we want to do. Sorry, let me jump back. But by making these lowercase, we're saying that this can work with any type of markup. This can work with a page message, a layout message. It's not specific to anything. So as long as these are lowercase, we're not going to have that error message anymore. And now we're getting the one I expected, which is that we're missing all these fields. So here we can say the title of a movie is movie.title, whereas the title for a show is going to be show.name. And I think we made those maybes just today on the stream. So I think the idea is let's just do it for one of these. I'm going to take the definition of item and snap it to the right so we can have that for reference as we fill these in. So image is going to be api.image toString. Is image URL already a string? I don't know. All right, route equals, and then we'll have a route.path. This will take us to a movie detail page. Movie ID equals movie.id. And then we need to use this to turn that into a string so that our URL knows how to render it as a string. So here we go. Import that, import this. We are getting really close to wrapping this up. And then finally the details. I think here, I'd like it to say that it's a movie. I'd like it to say what type of content it is. Cool, movie ID. Oh, this is gonna be toString, my bad. Cool, and then we're gonna have the exact same thing here. But we're gonna do movie title. We're gonna do show image URL. We're not gonna take them to the movies detail page. We're gonna take them to the show detail page. With the show ID, the variable name is show. And then here we're gonna say TV show. And then TV show should have a name. Oh, it has a title, I guess. That's weird. Oh, whatever. I'm okay with that. That don't make me upset. Cool. And then finally, people person ID. Person. Here we're gonna do the person's name. And then here we're gonna say the search result is a person. And we don't have compiler errors, which is usually a pretty good sign. Let's take a look. Ryan. That's really weird results. All right, we got Ryan Gosling. We've got Barbie. Very cool. Wow. Let's see how this... All right, we want this to be responsive. So I think there's like, instead of a 4, there's like an autofill or something. So that's a grid. That's a CSS grid thing. Give everything a minimum height and then let it autofill. CSS grid autofill. I'll just Google that and then it'll be over. Autofill. All right, blah, 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 blah. Repeat, min, max, auto fit. Oh, very cool. I love it. And then what's the size of these things? I think it was like 200, right? I love it. Ha ha ha. Wow. Okay, we just made a fully responsive web app. Ryan is a movie. Ryan is a TV show. Ryan is a person. Ryan is a person. All right, we need a movie. What movie should I search? What's one of my? Let's look up Nick Cage. All right, so Nicolas Cage. I click on Nick. Look at that. I got Nicolas Cage. I want to say what movies he's in, but before I do that, I do want to save what we got here, and I want to add some more spacing between that because that's just too cramped. All right, chat. We're winners. We are a bunch of winners. All right, flock of winners. Okay, search for movies, TV shows, and people. I feel like... What does that look like? It's kind of crazy. I guess that's all right. Okay. I'm gonna look Good Will Hunting. Sick. Matt Damon. All right, this is very cool. I feel good about this. All right. So what do we do? So effect, let's close all these and let's just take a look at what we did. So we added send delayed message so we can throttle or debounce, whatever the word is, API requests. We added this API search. We actually did a custom type, which is kind of nice. So now you can see an example in the repo of how to use a custom type when you're dealing with JSON, like a list of things where you might have multiple results. So there's some examples for you there. Carousel, we just exposed that internal view item thing, so we could reuse that UI component. It'll be consistent with the same UI that we use in the carousel, including all like the hover state stuff. And then for the search page, we implemented like a search query field and search results. We implemented the debouncing, so we won't DDoS ourselves. We've got the search bar header, we've got the search results, we've got our loading state. Let's get rid of this. Oops. We don't want this debug log, otherwise it's not going to deploy, and I'm going to be confused. Is there any other debug stuff? Cool. And then that's it. What else do we got? We've got the person ID page. I added some alignment stuff there. And then we added some CSS for a CSS grid. So search page is working. Whew. All right, so To summarize, if you go to elm.land, this is the framework that we use to build this stuff. Let's add this example to the official official docs here. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go to Safari. I'm going to do movies.elm.land. I'm going to take a screenshot here. I'm going to go over here, and in the static folder, I'm going to, oh, let me do this with preview. All right, I'm saving it. It's off to my screen on the side here. But all I'm doing is I'm navigating to code, navigating to elmland, navigating to movies, going in the static folder, and just creating a file called screenshot.png. We're going to use that in the official examples. And so now we have this here. So that'll be good. And I'm going to push up that screenshot. And hopefully that'll deploy. And then updating our Elmland website is going to be pretty easy. So I have this examples page where I feature all kinds of stuff. So last week we created the real world app. We upgraded this from Elm SPA. So we're going to just update this page and add a little entry for the movies app that we made. So So if you want to learn how to work with REST APIs, JSON decoders, this is like a fully fledged app. It has API keys. So you'll learn about environment variables and all that stuff just by scanning this code base. On a Twitch stream, I'll do this. Do the exact same thing on another Twitch stream. Created an implementation. Sweet. Yeah, but hopefully that's helpful for folks. Create an implementation for the taste.js movies app. And I'm just going to link to that taste.js. Oops. Taste.js. This was the project that we did, so I'm just going to link that in our little description. Let me zoom in so you can read what the heck I'm typing. Create an invitation to Taste.js movies app for Elmland. This features environment variables. REST APIs. Sorry. Saw that. Already learned so much from you. Admin code reading your source. Excellent work. Thanks so much. Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that. That's very kind. Environment variables, REST API calls, JSON decoding, more. All right. So that's me. We got movies. And then this will just be at movies. So this is all open source and available. Feel free to scan the code or fork it or do whatever you want if you want to add features and stuff like that. It's all yours. And look, we've got the image there. So I'm going to commit this. And I'm going to say add Elmland movies example. Cool. There's definitely more we could add, right? We could add more information about the people, but hopefully that's enough of a chunk for folks to be able to have a good starting point. They can understand how the URLs are organized. A lot of people are working with REST APIs still. I know GraphQL is popular, but I think it's important to have like a really full resource for working with REST APIs too. Cool. Let's see how long until this deploys. All right. There we go. So now we have that here. So the example's there in the real world projects section. And I think the source code links work and the live demo should work. Source code, cool. Live demo, cool. That's all public and available, so feel free to check that out. I will upload this stream to YouTube. So yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. I'm gonna see if I can do a raid. I forgot to do that last time, but I forget how to do it already. Twitch TV. Oh, yeah, I guess not. Let's see if anyone's doing web dev. MMOs, we got co-working, game dev, the next TypeScript platform. I really want to raid chess.com. I think I'm going to be watching that. Grab some lunch. Let's raid chess.com. Hope you guys like chess. It's been a blast. I'm going to do this. Raid chess. I think it's chess. I don't know how this works. Raid chess. All right, folks. 9 of us. We're going to go raid a 13,000 viewer stream of chess. But thanks for hanging out. It really does mean a lot. And I'll catch you later. Goodbye. I'll do a wave. I'll do a full screen wave. Goodbye.